How's it going, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to the fourth and final round of feature matches for this week. We've got VW on the left, piloted by my friend John, and on the right, we've got Phantom Knight BA, piloted by my friend Dan, aka the Wumpa Knight himself. So I hope you guys are looking forward to this one. It's going to be a pretty good match. I realize rounds 1 and 2 this week were, a little rough, to say the least, and I do apologize for that. Sometimes it's hard for me to catch these things as I'm doing commentary because I'm trying to focus on several different things at once. And, it's accepted game state at the end of the day. If the players don't catch it, it's on both players, of course, to maintain the game state. And if it does not get maintained and, does not get caught, then, there's not really much I can do at the end of the day. And sometimes choosing not to upload the video is not an option, unfortunately, unless it's extremely bad. Like overlaying 2 tokens to make a Mubeta Fafnir. But I digress. As VW wins the die roll here, because my friend on the right always rolls 1s, let's take a look at the poll results for this match. I asked you guys who you thought would win round 4 with a bunch of question marks. 254 votes as I'm recording. 56% saying VW will win, while the remaining will say Phantom Knight will win. Yeah, VW already off to a very good start with Kowloon into Chuche. And, dumping King Long to the grave, like, already an incredible start. Has Nyan Nyan in grave, resolving Lulu now. Just already off to an incredible start, if you will. And we're going to see our Phantom Knight player opening, I think, Fogblade, Rhoda, Kagamucha Knight, Bell, and one other card. I can't quite exactly tell what it is. If you're able to pause the video, you could probably figure it out. But VW, I think, has opened up... for lack of a better word, cracked in this situation. We're going to see him synchro now Coral Dragon and Lily into the Ultimaya Zolkin. And he'll get to draw a card off the Coral Dragon, which is always a nice little plus. I love how VW gets these little draws throughout their combo off Croc, Coral, Stardust Charge Worry. I really do like that. It's very satisfying. I love drawing cards, in case you guys couldn't tell. But we're going to see him make the Crystal Wing. He's going to Lao, and he's going to, of course, try to Bell, because you got to try to Bell, right? Or do you? That's another question for another day. But, I mean, like, you could save the Bell. Oh, he's got a Torn Scale. It's the last card in his hand. Like, holding the Bell, like, if it was, like, Appaloosa, I would say maybe Bell, because that way, like, it has 1 less negate. But, like, Crystal Wing, like, come end of the turn, Crystal Wing is just going to get that negate back. Like... Bell is, or the Lao is resolving regardless. So, like, maybe you hold the Bell, I guess. I don't know. Am I wrong to think that? What would you guys do? But either way, we're going to see him get into a Shen Shen. Looking like a pretty classic VW end board here. Crystal Wing, Shen Shen, Chuche. Really, really strong. And if he's opened a really good, which it looks like, I mean, he has. He's got Jianwu still in graveyard. Could easily go for a rank 3, like the Gossip Shadow. For a monster negate, and we might just see that as he brings out GG off of Jianwu by pitching King Long, and yeah, lo and behold, there it is. So he has 2 monster negates, the floodgating of Shen Shen, saying any card sent from the field is banished instead. And let's see if these players will be able to maintain that game state, but looks like there's not much to see here in game 1 other than the full VW combo as our Phantom Knight player decides to scoop it up. And heading into game 2 here, not giving his opponent any information on as to what he is playing. And as they get ready for game 2, I want to mention a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist. They sell all sorts of amazing playmats, deck boxes, sleeves, dice, and more. In fact, the playmat on the field right now is from Imperium. It's not available anymore, I don't think, but you can just get an idea of what kind of mats they make and the quality that they make. They've got all tons of different designs, so check them out at the link below. And don't forget to use my discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, please do not forget to use my affiliate link down at the description below if you guys shop and check out. Using that link, a small bit of the revenue from your purchase goes right back into the channel, and it helps out a ton. So, we are going to see our Phantom Knight player go first here because, as a combo deck, you definitely don't really... And as a deck that's also kind of reliant on the graveyard, you probably don't want to go into a Shen Shen Crystal Wing board like the last game. We're going to see him open up Torn Scales, Boots, and Psychic Tracker, or Wielder, rather, and getting into the Cherubini. I think our VW player was questioning, why does the BA not die? I know a lot of people have that question. Simply, why does BA not die? It's a question that even myself does not know the answer to. Obviously, I'm joking. I remember I used to get this question a lot when I played Block Dragon BA. People would always wonder why a Burning Abyss monster wouldn't die if it was on the field with a non-BA, like Gallus, for example, but it was always because it was being pointed to by Cherubini, and Cherubini prevents any monster it points to from being destroyed by card effects, so really good card. We're going to see him activate Boots here, though. Boots is going to add Torn Scale. We'll see him normal Torn Scale. It's going to pitch a Fog Blade, I believe, to go ahead and dump a copy of Ancient Cloak. Sorry for the little mini earthquake there. The feature match rig that I've built recently, not recently, I guess, but in the past few months, it's made out of PVC pipe, and it is pretty high off the ground because I don't have a wide-angle lens, so like I can't leave it any lower, or else I wouldn't get the whole mat in view. But I've been thinking in the back of my head ways to try to stabilize it more to make it less wobble-proof. Luckily, the camera I have has pretty good built-in stabilization, so it kind of nullifies all the little bits of vibrations that would happen from the people just, you know, touching the table in general. But sometimes if there is people being a little too rowdy, you know, you guys will see it, and I do apologize for that. We're going to see him make Leviair and also Rusty Bardish. So also it's just like already starting off like a really good field here. We're going to see him use Rusty. Rusty will dump the Stained Greaves, and he'll go ahead and get to set a copy of Shade Brigandine here. I think most people are probably used to seeing the standard set Fog Blade, but setting the Shade Brigandine here could prove to be a little bit better because it is a nice extender at this point since there are no traps in grave. He's actually going to change up his send target, not going for Stained Greaves, but instead going for the gloves. Then we'll see him banish Boots, or a Cloak rather, and that will add Stained Greaves. And now we're going to see him flip up the Shade Brigandine. That will summon itself. That'll trigger Stained Greaves in hand. And this will allow him access to a rank 4, because Stained Greaves can change its level. I think when it hits the field, it can either stay a 3 or it can become a 4. And that's going to allow him to overlay into Evil Swarm Nightmare, which, for those that don't know, basically Books of Moon, a special summon monster, and it is not a once per turn. It can do it as many times as it has materials, and yeah, so double Book of Moon here, plus 3 Appaloosa negates is, how do I put this, really good against VW. So we're going to see him start with Prosperity, banishing 6, so could, you know, possibly be a tell that his opening hand is not that great, right? Might be a little fragile, especially going into a board like this. So that will get Ash. I think that's a fine Ash. And we're going to see him activate Kinglong, activate GG, and that will get negated immediately by the Appaloosa. This is a bit of an interesting situation, though, because the Kinglong is so close to being live to turn off the Appaloosa. It's just a matter of how far is our VW player willing to go to be able to make it live, and I think he's going to try and do that now by entering the battle phase, and he will go ahead and just crash the GG into the Appaloosa. It is at 1,000, so he will take 600 there since Appo is at 16. Put him down to 74. Battle phase exhausted, though. Like, that's a small victory in of itself, so we definitely take those. But as expected, the Kinglong will be able to banish the GG from grave to negate Appaloosa's effects, dropping the other 2 counters off of it. Now he's going to be able to resolve the Lili here. Thinking on the send, can either send a monster or a trap. Looks like he'll send Zhanwu. And then he'll get to send another card on top of that at the 3rd type, going for Nyan Nyan. And Evil Swarm Nightmare will activate to Book of Moon, the Lili. So now he cannot play off of a monster. He's got to play off of a spell. But we're going to see him actually use Zhanwu. It's going to bring out Nyan Nyan, discarding Ghost Spell. He's going to go ahead and Book of Moon that again, and he's going to try for Lao Lao here. No targets in grave, and I don't think any cards in hand, actually, at this point. I'm not really sure what our VW player can do here. Maybe looking for one last option, but he is going to just go ahead and scoop, and we're going to head into a Game 3 situation. And as you can tell by the length of this video, it's going to be a pretty lengthy Game 3. Alright, so here in Game 3, we could probably say that VW is going to go first. I think that's a fair assumption. Both decks seem to do a very good job at countering one another if they get to go first and do full combo. We're going to see our VW player open really strong with Kinglong Lulu. He does have the Ash for the Lulu, and he does have the Psy Frame Gamma to bring out the driver. Like, I mean, that's such a tempting Ash right there. I think you have to Ash, honestly, like, because I don't think there's like a better Ash at any other point in the combo. I could be wrong. And if he has the Gamma, then like he has the Gamma. But this is already like looking to be an absurd opening here for our VW player. Getting the driver out and getting the resolve of the Lulu. He's going to dump Jianwu, add GG. We're going to see him go GG, dump a King Long. And he'll be able to add back, of course, in the end phase. And now we're going to see him Synchro 6. As we know, it's not going for Link 2. So we're going to see him Synchro 6 into Stardust Charge Ward to pick up a nice little draw 1. And then he's going to be able to Synchro the Gamma, which is a level 2 tuner, and a Synchro non-tuner. So we'll be able to set up a Crystal Wing already. Not needing Zolkin whatsoever. Just resolving Gamma and getting access to Charge Warrior. And interestingly enough here, the driver is a level 6. So if he wanted to, he could overlay with any of his level 6 VWs to be able to make a M7 if he wanted to. So that's just kind of like free Ixies fodder at this point. We're going to see him activate Desires here to kind of refuel the hand mid-combo. And hopefully he drew well there. And didn't banish too many key extenders, obviously. It's like always the worry with Desires. But I think from what I saw, I think I saw him draw another Desires. But, I mean, at least he still drew one card at the end of the day. That's really all that matters. He still drew some cards. We'll see him use King Long. He'll add the Lily, discarding another King Long in hand. So all 3 King Longs, I believe, out of the deck now. Which is, I guess, nice to know if you're the Phantom Knight player. Now we're going to see him activate Lily, targeting King Long. He's going to go ahead and send a trap and a monster. So probably Chuche and Yan Yan, since I believe Jianwu was already sent. Yeah, Jianwu was already sent. So it has the level manipulation, has a reborn, and a basically free extender in the grave in the form of Yan Yan. And this is that play I was talking about here. You could make a rank 6 with the driver and Lily if you chooses to do so. I think the only issue our VW player might be experiencing right now is a lack of VW names. I don't think he can get to Lao Lao this turn unless, yeah. I mean, he could get to Lao Lao this turn, 100%. We're going to see him activate, if he hard drew it, of course. I'm going to activate M7. That's going to add back the Lulu. And this is just going to allow him to get more mileage out of his GG in the end phase, because he has to just use that add back on the Lulu. He can get another add back on top of it, which is great. So we'll see where he decides to go from here. Can't really tell what cards are in hand at this point. Can only really speculate that he probably has another VW name. He's already used Lily, GG, and Lulu, and there it is, the 4th and final one, Lao Lao. He's going to go ahead and target King Long, and he'll have to send a monster here. Or a trap he could have sent, but I believe all the worthwhile traps to send are out of the deck, so why not just send another Yan Yan? And of course, at this point, he can go ahead and revive one from grave. He'll revive GG, and he could also revive Yan Yan here if he chooses to do so. Because then I think he could use Jianwu to do something else to bring back something to synchro with the Yan Yan. But he already has a Shen Shen here, so I don't think he really needs to go that extra mile. I don't really know. I mean, he could make Crocosaur too. I guess that's another thing. And yeah, speak of the devil. See, he will make Crocosaur get another draw. So far, that's 4 cards drawn this turn. 2 off Desires, 1 off the Charge Warrior, and another off of the Croc. And he's going to use Jianwu to bring out GG. Discarding Prosperity, that will bring out Yan Yan with it. And then you can use Chuchi to level mod. I forgot about the level modulation for a second. That'll make one of them a level 6, allowing him to get into Shen Shen. All the same. So opening just absolutely bonkers hand here. Adding back 1 off of the... Or no, using Yan Yan, rather, to recycle 1 back, I think, off of his Desires. And then he's going to go for Kowloon. And that is going to activate a Chuchi from the deck. So, like, macro on board, Crystal Wing, a pop, and another pop because of the Croc and Chuchi. Like, really solid opening here. We're going to see our Phantom Knight player open up with Rhoda. And I believe he has a Droplet in hand, which is going to be really good here. But the unfortunate side effect of the Droplet is he will have to discard a lot of cards. because he wants to turn off the Shen Shen. He wants to turn off the Crocosaur, and he wants to turn off the Crystal Wing, most importantly, probably. Shen Shen, most importantly. But you definitely want to turn off all 3 of those monsters, because if you don't turn off the Croc, then you still have to play through 2 pops, and that's going to be very hard to do with a deck like Phantom Knight. Those mid-combo interruptions where you're losing bodies off the field are going to be a little bit more detrimental than I think a standard negate. But he will use the Droplet, pitch 3, big ball in here, going all in, hitting the Shen Shen, the Crocosaur, and the Crystal Wing as expected. And having to discard 3. I think that's one of the most like balanced things about Droplet as opposed to a card like Dark Ruler where it's just a blanket negate. At literally no cost, Droplet you do have to pay a bit more of a price. But you can, this is one of those decks where you necessarily can afford that hefty discard by playing out of the grave, essentially, as we're seeing him do here. We're going to see him start with Torn Scale and pitching a Fog Blade in hand, dumping a of the Ragged Gloves, and yes, the ethereal hands extending forward to pull you into your own demise. I love the artwork of Gloves. This is very funny. Always have. And also is one of the cards I never, every time I've picked up the Phantom Knight core, I've just never been able to get my hand on super rare Gloves for some reason. I don't know why. We're going to see him use Fog Blade. It's going to bring out Stained Greaves, which will allow him to do something here. He could get into Cherubini, but I don't know if he has enough gas in the tank to keep going through the normal Cherubini route. But he's going to go for Break Sword. And Break Sword attempting to pop itself. And it looks like Chuche, which the Chuche has not been expended at this point. And we'll see if he is able to play through this board. I mean, it's not really looking likely at this point. There are still massive bodies on the field. And also not clearing M7 is a problem in of its own right. Not necessarily during your turn, but on your opponent's next turn. Because of the resources it will help you gain back, making it easier to close out the game. But I wanted to actually bring up an important ruling issue that happened here. So our Phantom Knight player is attempting to Break Sword Chuche right now. And I think our VW player is trying to respond to the Break Sword with Chuche targeting itself. And our judge at the time was answering a question. If our VW player popped Chuche with his own Chuche, would Break Sword resolve, still destroying itself? And unfortunately, it was ruled that Break Sword would not be destroyed. After the fact, I talked with some of my friends who are very, very ruling savvy, and they agreed that Break Sword still should have tried to have resolved as much as possible here, destroying itself, allowing him to at least get those 2 monsters back from the grave. But unfortunately, I think it was ruled incorrectly here. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments about how this should have been played out, Break Sword versus Chuche. But regardless, we're still going to see this one play out, even though I think this is very heavily in the favor of VW. We're going to see our PK player try to resolve the Gloves in grave, and we'll see what he decides to send off of this sort of in archetype Foolish Burial. Now, of course, if the Break Sword would have resolved, he would have got the Stained Greaves and the Torn Scales back from the grave, allowing him to make some sort of rank 4. Now, I don't know what rank 4 is really helping you in this situation outside of maybe Redoer. Raider's Knight would have been incredible because he could have probably OTK'd with Arc Rebellion, but all of his opponent's monsters are currently in defense position, so that is played around Arc Rebellion very, very easily. And I know a lot of people are going to be asking, does he run Zeus? In this current build, he does not run Zeus. But he is running the Anaconda and Dragoon package as well. I think he might be off of it. I'm not sure because he was trying out Retort Fusion in this specific extra deck. As you guys saw, Sea Monster of Theseus as well. But he's going to go into the battle phase. It'll kill the Croc, which of course Croc is negated. And we're going to see him banish the Boots now. And Boots is going to be able to head and go and search a Phantom Knight spell or trap. And that will grab, I can imagine, Fog Blade. Fog Blade will do at least a good job here at stalling, if you will, to hopefully buy some time, because time is one thing that he needs right now. If he can survive next turn, which is looking very unlikely, but if he can survive, maybe he top decks the stones and is able to try to claw his way out of this hole that he's in. So he'll set the Fog Blade and pass, and as expected, we're going to see our VW player get very aggressive as he turns all of his monsters into attack position, now unnegated and no longer under the effect of that Forbidden Droplet. He's going to start with Lulu, which is, I mean, sucks to see, but of course we do know that it was in his hand. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you kind of want to forget about. Like, oh, great, he's got Lulu. I've got so many other things to worry about, but of course Lulu is there regardless, dumping the Chuche, adding, I think, Gigi. Now we're going to see him use Gigi here. And this also might be a case of overthinking here, if you will. I mean, maybe not, actually. Maybe not. Because I don't think it's game on board with just... It's definitely not game on board with Shen Shen, M7, and Crystal Wing, but doesn't need to do much else to get over this board. As you can see, Vermilion Mech is going to sort of finish the job here. At least attempt to, as it gets Fog Bladed. That would have cleared the Break Sword. But now we're going to see M7 activate, and it could just go ahead and easily bounce back the Break Sword. But there's one potential problem, that if he bounces the Break Sword, I don't think it's going to be game, because he can only attack with M7, which is 27, 28 from Shen Shen, and then 3k from Crystal Wing. So he needs to find a way to get just a splash more damage on the field here. Now, I guess technically he doesn't need to OTK also. He could very much just kind of pass, since he already has an incredible board. But we're going to see him make a rank 9. Luckily, Calamities is banned. And that's going to go for the Phantom Fortress Ender Blathian, which is a non-target banish, either from the field, grave, can banish one random from hand, or the top card off the opponent's deck. So Ender Blathian will get summoned. Which is really good here, because it's going to kind of weed out some of these Phantom Knight extenders in grave. Like this, the Fog Blade, which is going to have to be activated here, which will not be able to banish Torn Scales, as he dodges the banish by using Fog Blade, but Stained Greaves will get banished and meet its demise. And then he's going to resolve Lao Lao now. So yeah, this is definitely going to be the final nail in the coffin here, 100%. Going for another rank 7, going for the VW rank 6, which I forget its name, which is going to banish one off the field and in the grave, and that is going to be game aplenty. The most aggressive handshake in the world you've ever seen as we finish this matchup. VW takes it 2-1. If you guys want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up on the bottom of the screen right now. And last but not least, I want to give a special thanks to our Divine Level channel members, and they are Cadillacs84, Pony Stark, and Keith Sidgers. Thank you guys so much for your extremely generous support of this channel.